All right, Gathering of Fools, and we didn't do an episode last week, but we're back this week, and we have Amanda Gill from Be Kind with us.
Again.
Do it again?
No, I say we're here again. I'm here again. Like the third time? Fourth time?
Yeah, at least. And your podcast is actually doing great.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, you get a lot of response from it.
Yeah. If you're listening to this too, we might, not might, but we're going to air it on my platform as well. So welcome, guys. I think the 15th episode or 16th?
15th or 16th. I'm not sure. Not sure off the top of my head.
I think it's the 15th, but I also could be very wrong. But Dave asked me to record with him tonight, so I thought it would just be a good bonus episode to add to my platform as well. So hello, friends. Here we are.
And it makes it so we just record once and we don't have to do two.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty great. We're doing great.
We're doing great.
We're killing it.
We got this down.
But then I asked Dave what he wanted to talk about, like, because he's not going to, like, interview me because he's done that once before. And then we kind of, like, caught up on life on the second episode of Gathering of Fools with me. And then, so tonight I was like, what are we going to talk about? And he was like, well, it was in a text, and he said, I don't know, LOL. And I was like, oh, okay, great.
I feel like that makes you really nervous when I say that.
It does, just because I know how you can get.
What does that mean?
I just know how things can, like, get out of hand a little bit, so.
Definitely can.
I was nervous.
It's a little less structured show than yours.
Yeah, it's a little less structured, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Not structured is okay sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just like to do this and just have conversations with people.
Yeah. I was thinking that the next episode that I want to record on my platform is going to be a, like, background story. Like, this is who I am. This is all of the things that made me want to start a podcast. Kind of like give people, like, a deeper look into why.
Another solo.
I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
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 You that, to me, that is so intimidating. I don't know how you do the solo ones. I mean, I do them for MMA Fools, kind of, but I talked to Jacob about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes it's hard for me to talk, like, to structure my conversations when I'm having a conversation with someone else, because I am thinking so much about, like, helping them stay on topic and being, like, there for them that I, like, I can't put my words together like I can if I'm by myself, which, I mean, you've seen me in public settings. I kind of get overstimulated and just kind of, like, shut down. Yeah. So when I'm by myself, I can structure the way that my thoughts work a little bit better.
You do get overstimulated.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. It's really just a recent thing that I've learned. Like, I always thought that I just didn't like social settings, or, like, I didn't like certain people in social settings, but now I'm just realizing that walking into social settings and feeling all the energy from the room, like, really bothers me. Yeah. When it's a lot all at once.
It's, like, overwhelming.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. So I don't know. That's something I'm learning about myself right now.
I do not have that. I walk into a social
I know. You are like a social butterfly. And it's very opposite. I mean, it's not totally opposite of me, but it's definitely much more social than I am.
Yeah, I want to talk to everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Hey, who's that guy over there?
Yeah, you're like a squirrel. But oddly, you structure your conversations very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy, like, especially when it's somebody new or they have something new to say. Like, I really enjoy actually just listening and then reacting, which is, I don't know if that happened more with the podcast, because I feel like before I probably was definitely guilty of trying to remember what I was going to say while they're talking, but then I'm not listening to them.
Right. Yeah, so, I do that on my podcast sometimes.
Yeah. So now I've learned to just kind of let whatever I was thinking about go. Like, just let it go. If it's still there, awesome. If it's not, but listen to what the person is saying. Yeah. If unless I've had a few, then sometimes I'm like, you have to remember this and you're drunk, so just keep it there.
Oh, David, here we go again.
Oh, no. Doesn't happen that often. Bastards of Bourbon, it does.
Yeah. Oh. I was here for one recording of Bastards of Bourbon. Well, I've been here for a couple, but not stayed for the whole thing. And the one that I was here for, you guys there's just way too much bourbon in one sitting. Some people can't handle it. Some people will handle it okay. Yeah. Other people are, like, falling asleep at the table. It's just That was an experience,
Well,
for sure.
It's so crazy too because we actually scaled it down from what it used to be, and for some reason I feel like
that's insane to me that you've scaled it down
like drastically.
Ugh.
But what's crazy to me about it is I feel like people somehow handled it better when it was more. It's like now for some reason it seems like people are getting more drunk off of like the.
Did they go on for longer?
Oh yeah, they were like 3 hours.
Oh well, maybe that's why, and weren't like fitting in so many bourbons in a single hour. You know?
Well, and we gotta stop. We have to stop getting excited and pulling stuff off the shelf.
Yeah, because then you're having to like take people home after, and they're having to get rides. Yeah. Like this is not a healthy.
And there's no Uber around here either. So.
And do you know what people do that like taste? You could do that bourbon tasting thing or the wine tasting thing where they swig it around their mouth.
Don't
and
say
then
it. Nope.
They spit it out.
No. Why would you say such a thing?
I don't know, because I'm trying to think of people's health.
Blasphemy.
I'm thinking of health here.
Spit out good bourbon. Nonsense. I'll spit out some larceny. Ugh.
Yeah, you're talking Spanish to me, which not even Spanish. You're talking to like Portuguese to me. No, Portuguese is too similar to Spanish. You're talking
like
German.
Egyptian.
Yeah.
Like a dead language.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think bourbon language is a dead language, but no, it's a language I don't understand though. Yeah.
It's just a certain type of bourbon that it's well documented that I hate.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Terrible.
Well, I don't know you that well then.
That is not true.
I was thinking earlier after I taught yoga, like in between classes, I was thinking about like things that we could talk about. So I have like a list in my head of things we could talk about if.
Go ahead. This is a dual podcast. You can start now.
Start now.
Yeah,
just start now.
Yeah.
Just let it out.
Yeah, let it fly. What do you got going?
So I was thinking about how that woman, I won't even say her name, that I used to follow.
Oh yeah.
That video I showed you earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just say it. I'll just tell the story because this is gonna be on my platform too. So if you followed me back in the day when I did unique makeup and was pretty successful at multi-level marketing, I used to listen to Rachel Hollis a lot because of her background in media, and the way that she built her company was very similar to how you would build a company in multi-level marketing. And I just valued her opinions on how to build a business. So I used to follow her, and she's the author of Girl Wash Your Face, Girl Stop Apologizing, some fiction books, and she just released a recent one that was pretty good as well. But Dave brought up how when he would listen to me listening to her that she always contradicted herself, and he wasn't a big fan of her. But I was like, I don't know, she helped me with a lot of things, and I still like her. Well, recently I found out that she was a raging C-word on social media. And I found out because I went to her podcast. I was cleaning out my car the other day, and I was like, I want to listen to her. I haven't listened to her for a while. So I went to her podcast, and it was like this like apology video or apology podcast episode. And then she talked about how she like did something very hurtful and she was so sorry. And I was like, okay, I'm sure she's deleted the video, but I'm sure I could find it. So I found it. And she talked about how she was more basically privileged than other people.
Yeah, well, she was like bragging about it because somebody said something about her being privileged and being unrelatable.
Yeah, and then she was proud of the fact that she was quote unquote unrelatable, but she's built an entire business on being relatable to other women, and like that's her brand. Like she's like, hey sis, I'm there with you, like I'm struggling the same way you're struggling. And then she puts this video out and literally says
that I'm unrelatable
because I work hard
and I like do all these things
and I work harder than you. And I was like, oh my god, she literally just threw her business in the dumpster. Like, it's
her
on
whole
fire.
brand, not just her business, her just brand in general.
And I can't imagine like how her team felt.
Oh, they were probably sick.
Oh my gosh. So then to top
she's
it
the
off,
one that has that studios you talked about. The
3% chance.
Yeah.
To top it off, she then tagged people like Harriet Tubman and Oprah Winfrey in this video, saying that she has the same work ethic as these women who know real struggle.
And that they were also unrelatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you did not.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. So my point is that I had this like I idolized her.
Yeah.
As a businesswoman.
Yeah. And
she did that, and it just proved to me that, like, wow, like, you can be a terrible human being underneath. Underneath, like, a facade.
Well, yeah, because it was.
And I don't know that it's all a facade.
It's a facade. That's why she contradicts herself all the time on her podcast, because she doesn't really believe what she's saying.
I just don't want to believe that, because I believe in, like, genuine human hearts.
Yeah. Well, and there are genuine human hearts out there. She just doesn't happen to be one.
I don't know about that.
But some of her message is good.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, she contradicts herself, but some of her message is good, and it definitely helped you. You know, it doesn't take away from the fact that it helped you.
Yeah, I think that's what's shitty, is that, like, so much of what she was or what she portrayed helped me and millions of other people.
Yeah.
And then she releases something like that, and then I can only imagine there's so many moms out there that are like, wow, like they like trusted her, like a friend almost, you know?
Yeah.
So it just made me think about today, like a topic to talk about would be how we have those like attachments, how people can attach themselves to like a certain human being, and then they make you feel awesome and they teach you things, and then once that quote unquote facade is let down, then you're let down, and then you're like lost. I don't know. It was just something that I thought about talking about earlier. Yeah,
I think you have to. You got to separate it a little bit, because you can still take what was good from it, but I don't think it should make you lost. Just focus on the good things that it helped you do or helped you transform yourself with. And
I can just think about like the way that I felt in my like deepest season of postpartum depression.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You find out, like, you already feel alone, and then you find out someone you looked up to is an asshole.
Yeah, like somebody in that actual scenario, their hormones are already
right.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
I just think that, it's so terrible.
It could also swing the other way, though. They could just ride with her.
Yeah, so I messaged this one other woman, not girl, but I messaged a friend of mine who we both used to listen to her very faithfully. And I said, Ashley, did you see what happened to Rachel? And she was like, no, like, what are you talking about? So I sent her the link, and she was like, oh my gosh. She was like, I have to be honest, her most recent podcast, like ever since her divorce, which that's just when it seemed to happen.
Yeah.
She kind of like fell off the rails, and her podcasts were very vain and just not that great. And I was like, yeah, no, I definitely thought the same thing. And we kind of like sympathized about it and just thought it was insane. How someone who was once so good at being there for people was like, I'm not relatable.
Yeah. Like literally it was her whole brand. Like that was the message she would do in her podcast. Yeah. Like, I'm with you. Like, this sucks, but we're going to move through. And
yeah. I'm just so disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm still disappointed about it. Rachel, I am disappointed in you.
Her apology was terrible too.
Terrible.
It was very self-serving.
And then, it was very self-serving.
Yeah.
And then the post on, and I'm not one to like gossip. Like this is.
And she's a public figure, so it's not really gossip. Yeah. She put herself out there.
Yeah. All the comments on that apology post, though.
Yeah. It was crazy. I actually saw a lot of people, like, supporting her, too. Like, oh, somebody makes one mistake. Like, the problem is...
Oh, yeah.
The problem is it's not really a mistake. Like, she was, like, showing, like, who she was.
Yeah.
And her thought process.
And that was something that a lot of the comments said, like, fool me once.
Yeah.
And... they said that it was like the 4th time that she's done something like this.
Oh, nice.
And what's like terrible also is that her quote unquote best friends because she talks about them, are a lesbian couple, and one of them is a woman of color.
Yeah.
And she talks about how her friends are being super graceful through this period and trying to teach her, like, you can't do these things. And I was just like, I can't even imagine how her friends feel.
Yeah. Like, like what's that conversation like?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's intense.
Ugh. I would just hang her. Like, you can't do this.
Yeah. What is the matter with you?
Like, babe, you hold her down. I'm going to beat her. But anyway, I told Ashley that. And then, you said something that I was going to say. And then I lost it.
See, it's tough.
Because Ashley said something, and it was like the point of why I was going there, and it's gone.
Gone forever.
Shoot. Okay. Your turn.
My turn. We're just gonna just go back and forth with topics.
We'll just go back and forth.
I don't really have topics like that. I just talk.
I know, but I vented, and now it's your turn.
So moving right along, I actually want to talk to you about your Kickstart, just because I was like a guinea pig for that.
Yeah.
And
you were like the guinea pig.
Yeah.
You were the beginning guinea pig. Yeah. So I have this thing where I kind of just like pick words for things. Kickstart's just a word that like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Kickstart's just the word that like came to me when I thought about it. But Kickstart is a program that I put together where I help people kind of like break bad habits with food choices.
Yeah.
So I'm not a nutrition professional. I've just done the nutrition thing for myself since I was 17. Just kind of like learned a lot of stuff and learned as much as I could. I went to culinary school. You don't necessarily eat very healthy in culinary school, but I know how to cook food.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Except for steak. Dave does the steaks. I don't touch the steaks. You don't touch a man's meats. Ladies, you let the guys do the steaks, okay?
I do love to cook a good steak.
Yeah, you do it way better than I do, so I'm not touching them. But anyway, I put together this little program. Did you notice the way I like started to like undercut myself? Like, I'm not a professional. I don't know anything.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous, because it's not that you don't know anything. Like, yeah, sure, maybe you didn't go to school for it, but you've learned a lot and you absorb information really well. And
I have an awesome nutrition coach right now who's taught me a lot too. Like, Frankie and I have known each other for only a few short years, but even the things that I've talked to him about and other nutrition professionals. One of my best friends in culinary school was a nutritionist.
Yeah.
So just the people that I've talked to in my life that have reassured me that, hey, the things you know are actually things you know.
Yeah. And you've done a lot of experimenting yourself.
I'm just
like,
one of those
you've tried a
people
lot of different.
Yeah.
I hate to call it diets, because it's not a diet. It's not like you're like,
oh, I've tried, but I have tried every single diet out there.
Yeah. But really just trying to figure out what your body runs optimal on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of what I know is I try to help people based on the ways that people start to feel bad about food choices and the ways that people are kind of sabotaging their lifestyles with food choices that maybe they're unaware of. Kind of a very intuitive way to approach eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were one of the guinea pigs of quote unquote Kickstart. Dave just shared a lot of stuff with me about. There's 2 podcast episodes about it. The first one that we did, and then
about like my eating habits and drinking and stuff like that.
The second one with you on my platform was like a life update.
Yeah.
So we talk about it on there. But I put together this little 2-week program where in the beginning of the program, the first 2 days are a juice cleanse, and we do a juice cleanse basically to not just like cleanse your body. Like, I don't believe that everyone needs a juice cleanse. But I do believe in the way that it resets the way that you're thinking about eating. So for those 2 days, go ahead, were you gonna say something?
Well, I was gonna say it definitely did that for me, because I wasn't, a lot of times I realized I wasn't really hungry, but I just wanted to eat.
Yeah, you noticed your hunger cues because you weren't, like, food wasn't available to you in those 2 days.
Oh, it was available. I work in a restaurant.
But it wasn't on the list of options.
Right.
You weren't going to eat.
No.
So during those 2 days, I realized how I even have those like cravings and those urges to eat just because I'm bored.
Yeah.
So during those 2 days, I was like, wow, like, not only do I feel great because I'm giving myself the chance to put good things in my body, but I feel great because mentally I realize now I'm not attached to wanting to eat potato chips because I'm bored. I don't have like cravings for chocolate.
Yeah.
And it was really strange how it like took those cravings away completely.
Yeah, we typically eat terrible chocolate though, because it's healthy chocolate. So that takes that craving away.
Yeah. It's not terrible chocolate. It's good for you chocolate.
It's good for you chocolate. It's not bad.
So we do the 2 day, what?
I was just going to say, you know me, I have to use the restroom real quick, but that will keep me from
please.
interrupting you, so you can actually just go step by step what the process is real quick.
Okay. Now here I am just by myself. So we do this 2-day juice cleanse, and I add you to a group on, it's not a group, it's an Instagram page, but I add you to the Instagram page, and on the Instagram page we communicate, and the other participants in the challenge, in the Kickstart group, you can come together with and share some of your struggles, and we talk about things like how we view not just food, but how we view ourselves. Like sometimes when we're looking in the mirror and we say something like, oh, like you look really silly in what you're wearing, or I feel really terrible about myself today. We work on switching some of that verbiage around. We look at how we're talking to ourselves about food or ourselves in general, so that we can be a little bit more positive about the ways that we approach those things. So first 2 days, we do a juice cleanse. I add you to the group page. We talk about recipes. I post, like little support things in there. And I'm communicating with you essentially for 2 weeks about how we move into a way to eat clean for 2 weeks. Do I think clean eating is for everyone long term? Maybe not. But for these 2 weeks, we eat things that come from the ground. We eat things that you can farm. We eat things that are basically just not processed. And that's really difficult if you look at all of the like banter back and forth on different articles, like, oh, well, rice is processed if you want to go that far. And it's not like that. Like, we're eating rice, we're eating potatoes, we're eating things that if you wanted to go out and grow in your backyard, you could. Yeah. So juice cleanse for 2 days, and then we eat clean for 2 weeks. And people have had a lot of good things to say. I started this as a desire to help people. And I really wasn't sure if it was going to be something that I was going to even be good at. I was nervous about it. So everyone that's participated in it and has finished, I've asked them, hey, like, what was one thing you learned? What was one thing you're going to take away from this? And then also, what's one thing I could do better? Like, what did you not like about this? Yeah. And the only response was, maybe you could structure this a little bit differently, or maybe you could put this information out at the beginning, because I think I would have rather known this in the beginning rather than halfway through. So it's been really nice to hear people say that they got a lot out of it.
Yeah. What was the information they said what was the information they would have liked to have had halfway through, before halfway through?
I made these little sheets that are like a lot. So common knowledge for me is to look at peanut butter and know peanut butter's mostly fat. Mm-hmm. Some people look at peanut butter and think protein. Mm-hmm. They don't think about the fats that are in peanut butter. Yeah. So I made these sheets that are like, one is fats, and I just labeled it fats, like knowing what your choices are. Yeah. And, number 1 was high fat foods. Number 2 was high fat, but also some protein. And then number 3 was like, I don't remember what I called them, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
but you're just giving people like information about the food.
Yeah, I just try to pick something that, like, a lot of people eat peanut butter, a lot of people eat butter, a lot of people eat oil, nuts.
I feel like you're just talking about me right now.
No. But what a lot of people don't know is that, like a pumpkin seed, super high fat, very minimal protein. But sometimes people pick seeds and nuts because they're like, oh, seeds and nuts, healthy. And then they're 100 grams of fat into their day because they snacked on sunflower seeds.
Yeah, I actually literally had that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I was actually going to see you, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to grab some sunflower seeds because it's a nice healthy snack for me to have on the drive. Yeah. And I went to go put it in my tracker, and it was like a cup of sunflower seeds. 1 cup was like 700 calories.
Crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, I never would have pictured that being 700 calories.
Yeah.
Like 1 cup. I probably ate way more than a cup.
Yeah.
I probably had a whole day's worth of calories just eating sunflower seeds.
It's crazy. So, like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to help people just be aware of.
Yeah.
So I called it Kickstart, but really it's just a food awareness collaborative group where we can talk to each other. You can talk to me, pick my brain.
Yeah.
And I just want to help people kind of create a little bit of balance in their lives.
Yeah, well, and I like the name Kickstart, though, because to me, the juice cleanse, even though it's only a 2-day juice cleanse, it can help you notice those habits and stuff that you were talking about with your food and clean out the junk. And then you go through a little 2-week, eat clean, discover some things that you can, I mean, like steak is eating clean. It's delicious. Vegetables is eating clean. They're delicious. I operate best on a high, like meat and high veg diet. But so if you had these bad eating habits, this can help you kickstart into a better relationship with food. So I like the name Kickstart. Yeah. Because you don't have to keep eating just nothing but clean, but you can understand what you're putting in your body and how it makes you feel because you're starting fresh. Yeah.
I think I did a really bad job at describing it while you were gone. I think you would describe it much better than I did. I'm not, I don't want to say I'm not good at describing things, but like my about me, not about me, but about us section on the Empowered Yoga website sat empty for like a year because I didn't know how to. I'm good at the creating portion. I'm good at the implementing portion, like creating a business and then doing it and then like creating Kickstart and then doing it. But the describing part of both of those things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just tough for you to do.
Yeah.
It's not how your creative brain works.
I think it's just that I don't like to like talk about myself like it feels like bragging almost. Or I don't know. That's just how it feels to me. So I would much rather have somebody else do it. Like I love testimonials. I love hearing people, especially from different perspectives of life or, you know, whatever. But I like hearing testimonials because I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it like this. Yeah. Like I didn't know that it would help you in that way. That's really cool. Yeah. So I would much rather post real life testimonials than sit here and tell you about why this thing I want you to pay money for is good, you know? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can give you a testimonial right now.
Yeah,
about
you're
the
sitting
juice
here 50 pounds lighter. Dave did not lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks.
No, I did not.
That is disclaimer.
Yeah, that should be a disclaimer. But especially when you're talking about the fact that you're not an actual nutrition coach or whatever, you didn't actually go to school for it or anything. That to me, that's crazy because you've definitely been like my nutrition coach, just through spending time together. Yeah. And teaching me about food. And you've done a lot for me. And when I first started trying to get in better shape and eat healthier, I just didn't really expect too much to happen right away. And then in 2 months' time, I was 40 pounds down.
But all you did is, number one, you trusted me. Yeah. And number two, you were willing to, based on that trust, you were willing to go in and do the work and be consistent. And when you didn't question it and you just followed the things that I suggested, it just happened for you. Yeah. Because you weren't like, oh, well, I don't know if this is going to work, so I'm just going to like go over here and eat cake or, oh, well, you really don't know what you're talking about, so I'm going to try this for 2 weeks and then give up. Like,
yeah. Well, and in that 2-month period, it's not like I never had cake or anything like that. Like I still treated myself sometimes. I just was much more conscious about what I put in my body.
Yeah. And then I remember telling you like a couple times, like, okay, like, so you had cake and you drank with your friends and you ate pizza. Like, so what? Can we just start today now, please? Thank you. Yeah. Like, can we carry on with our lives? Yeah. Like, it's no big deal. It's over.
Yeah. Now let it go and let's move on.
Let's not do that every other day, but. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, you got to treat yourself every once in a while.
Depends on what treat yourself means.
But so, and that really what you said about just trusting you and just doing it. Like, honestly, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about the fact that I was trying to lose weight or get in better shape. I just did it. Yeah. And then one day I just noticed that I didn't weigh myself through any of it. Yeah. And then one day I just was like, this shirt does not fit me. Like this used to be something that was slightly tight on me.
Yeah. And I remember that. You texted me that day.
Yeah. And now it's loose.
That's cool.
And I had bought these shirts forever ago in a large, and I was like, oh, well, I'm never going to fit into these. And then even after I started to lose some weight, I was like, it's still I'm too wide, so I'm never going to. But then as I lost a little bit more, now I'm in those large shirts, and I can't wear the extra larges at all. They look like flowing in the wind, pirate shirts or something. But so I was stuck right around 40, and that still wasn't 40 pounds down. And my goal was still higher than that. I would like to get to like 185, 180, and I was kind of stuck. I couldn't lose that last little bit. And then when you brought up the juice cleanse and you said, hey, will you do this for 2 days and let's see like how this goes, and then we'll eat clean for 2 weeks, I was like, okay, yeah, screw it, let's do it. And again, trusted it. The juice thing was a little weird for me because I don't even really drink juice like that, period.
Yeah.
And some of those green juices, I mean, you just got to choke them down.
See, I don't think that. I love them.
There are some of the green ones that were good, but some of them tasted like you were literally just like dragging your tongue across a garden.
Yeah. Across the garden. I like that kind of stuff. Like, I wouldn't say that I would drink it every day for breakfast. Like, that's not something that I like crave, but I think that in my head, I realize what the health benefits are of drinking something like that. So I'm like, okay, this taste isn't too terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's not so bad. But you're like, can we just eat steak?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. So like drinking wheatgrass was not steak. And yeah.
Terrible.
No, wheatgrass does not taste great.
No.
No.
So actually, through this program, I ended up losing another 10 pounds. So I was at 50 overall. And it was crazy to me. When I weighed myself afterwards, I was like, I can't believe this, but I lost 10 pounds doing this in like a week or 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah. But now I want to actually break down. So there was 8 juices a day. And you also had 2 shots a day. 6
juices a day, 2 shots a day.
Is it 6? I don't know. I thought
there
it was
were
6.
6.
Oh,
no.
3 and 3.
There were 6 juices a day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 3 for the first part of the day, 3 for the second part of the day, because you do that second shot in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so the first thing you did was take the shot in the morning, which was, what was it again?
That one was a ginger shot.
Ginger shot with cayenne pepper. No bueno.
It's very spicy and it's a lot first thing in the morning.
And the spice just sits in the back of your throat.
Yeah. It wakes you up.
It wakes you right up. You're ready to go after that anywhere. And then you drink like 3 juices, and then you do another shot. The first day it was a wheatgrass shot for me, because they vary a little bit, but there was a wheatgrass shot, and then 3 more juices. And the second day, the middle shot is a turmeric shot, which wasn't really that great either.
It was kind of the same as the ginger shot, I thought. Like, it was very spicy.
Yeah, it was pretty similar. But the first day, I felt a little weak at some point, and I got like a headache for a little bit, but it didn't last long. And overall, it wasn't bad. Like, I never really felt that hungry. I just didn't feel like myself. I also didn't work out during the juice cleanse part. I just didn't want to risk it.
I don't suggest anyone works out during the cleanse. I mean, your body is deprived of the normal amount of calories that you're used to, so
yeah,
you got to just chill.
The one day you recommended me doing yoga, but I didn't even want to risk that because I had to go be on my feet for 8 hours.
You were really sore that day and like achy and cranky. So I thought yoga might help you.
Yeah, I was
cranky.
I was in a bad mood, that's for sure, because that was day 2 of it. But then day 2 ended up being like a breeze until the very end. And
6 p.m.
Man,
for me.
Was it 6 p.m. for you?
Maybe like 4 p.m. Honestly, on that second day, I was like, no one talk to me. I have this toddler making faces at me. She wants me to play with her. And I don't know about that. So I took that like absolutely effing not and turned it into like, okay, we're going psycho. Like, we're just gonna, whatever you want, babe, we're just gonna do it. And then both nights I went to bed at like 8:39. When I put her to bed, I went to bed. Yeah. You were over that first night.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to my room, I'm gonna write in my journal, I'm gonna do some breath work, and I'm going to sleep. Don't talk to me, don't look at me, do not pass go. No. Do not collect $200.
That is almost completely accurate. But it was separated. You first came out of putting Alira in bed, and you came out and you go, I'm going to my room and I'm doing breath work. And I was like, okay. You're like, I'm serious. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
I'll just sit here. I don't want to go in there. You were a dangerous woman. You were a lioness who hadn't eaten in a couple days. Or in a day. And then you went in there, did your breath work and stuff, and came back out and you're like, I'm going to bed. And I was like, okay.
Like, I was like mad about it.
Yeah. And
like you were going to stop me from going to bed.
Right. Like, you do whatever you do. Like, should I just get out of here? I'm scared. You did admit that I handled it better than you.
You did. You did hit. You had to throw that in there, didn't you?
Yeah, sure did. I don't get many of these.
You did. I text him probably around 6 on the second day, and I was like, you whined a lot less than I am right now. Like, I am very mentally fit, but if you don't feed me, I am not strong anymore.
Yeah. Well, food is your first love.
First.
Well, behind Alira.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so for me, it wasn't until like really the very end of the second day, like 8, 9, 10 o'clock. And then I was like, there's no way I'm not going to eat after
Tonight.
I get off work.
Right.
I have to.
Right.
Luckily I didn't, but
Yeah.
I thought for sure I was going to. I actually, because I wasn't even sure how the rule worked with gum. So,
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, my gosh. This is ridiculous.
so I actually chewed gum, but didn't you get the saliva from the gum and the flavor and you swallow it. I just kept it in there and then spit it out.
You're ridiculous. How did that even work? What did you even do?
But I had a water bottle in the car and I chewed on the gum for a little while. And then as my mouth filled with saliva, I spit it out like dip spit, but less gross.
I don't understand you.
I was trying to make sure I followed the thing.
The guidelines.
The guidelines. I didn't want to cheat in any way. Like, this is
had-
sugar. I'm about to put sugar in my body if I swallow this.
Right.
Yeah.
You could also drink black coffee during it. Not completely recommended later in the day because it'll kind of just make you more hungry.
Yeah.
And then you also are able to eat 1/4 a cup of almonds and 1/4 a cup of cashews at some point in each day.
I did eat the cashews. Actually, I did.
I did both.
I did both too.
Days.
Yeah.
At 5 p.m. on the first day because I figured it would be like a dinner. Like I was really hungry. I was getting really tired. So I was like 5 p.m. I'm gonna have those nuts.
Yeah.
So I ate those at 5 p.m. on the first day. The second day it was 3 p.m. and I was like, I gotta do this. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So I did it and then I regretted it because 6 p.m. rolled around and I was like starving and I was like, I already ate my nuts. I'm cranky. This is awful. Can I go to bed now?
No, you were real sweet. You were very nice.
I think that I won't come over there just because it's a podcast.
No, I know you will. I'm getting my guard up. Well, the first day I was gonna try to with the nuts, just like I started eating them when I got to work, and I was like, I'm just gonna nibble on these.
Yeah.
And then I just ate them like a ravenous animal.
I can only imagine.
I was like, get out of here. Just sprinkle these throughout the day. No way. I just started shoving them in my mouth.
And at the time, Dave worked at a steakhouse.
Yeah. We should bring that up and they have great food.
Yeah.
Excellent food.
Mm-hmm.
Garden Grill Steakhouse. Their food's excellent. And I had to watch all this food come out, and it actually was busy both days. And I was just like, this is torture.
The worst.
And like all the customers, because they all knew I was doing it because they'd see me with these juices every 2 hours. And so they're all like making fun of me, like, I can't believe you're just watching all this food come out here, just drinking these juices.
Yeah.
Oh, so much steak.
Oh,
It's my favorite food too.
it's my favorite food.
Oh, such a problem. But got through it, and then initially when I agreed to this, I think this is information I should have had at the start, because I was like, oh man, that first day after this juice cleanse, I'm gonna go crazy. And you were like, no, you're not.
I mean, what's the point? What's the point if you go through a juice cleanse for 2 days and then lose your mind the first meal that you get to have?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. But in my head, that was like going to be my reward for getting through the 2 days. Just like one day where or not even maybe one day, but just one meal where I just kind of go nuts.
Well, yeah, but that's the problem. Like a lot of people go to food as like a reward or like a,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But really that reward ends up making them feel crappy, you know?
Well, and food isn't really a reward, it's sustenance, I suppose. I mean, I love food.
Yeah,
but
we should really honestly just stop using food as a
reward
system. Yeah. Like go buy yourself a new t-shirt or like go buy yourself some new shoes or something.
Yeah. And honestly, should we really have the same reward system as the dog you're trying to train?
The dog?
Like, because that's how you train a dog, is like with a treat. So should humans really use the same reward system?
I mean, it works.
It does work.
For the
dog. So yep, keep it up with the humans, and that's our podcast.
No, but like one of the girls at the yoga studio was saying that she got done with the juice cleanse and immediately went to McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. I was like, that's definitely not clean.
But she told me that she went through the juice cleanse, and then that third day or fourth day, whenever it was that she went to McDonald's, she was on a mission to lose 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And she was like stuck at 17, and she weighed herself after the juice cleanse, and she was at like 19 pounds lost. So she was like, oh, 1 more pound. Like, what is, like, how can I do this? She went to McDonald's the next day. She woke up, and I'm not saying go to McDonald's so you can lose weight. But what I'm saying is that she kickstarted her metabolism in a way that allowed her to lose that last pound. And the next morning she woke up and she texted me and she was like, hey, I went to McDonald's yesterday, but I lost 20 pounds. I finally did it. Like nice. I hit my mark. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and you definitely can't beat yourself up too much. If you beat yourself up too much when you do something like that, then you're just going to keep doing it.
Well, the stress will just plateau you. Yeah.
So my first meal out, because there was guidelines, I just had oats, egg.
Just oats. What do you mean? Those were the best oats I've ever eaten in my whole life.
I mean, they were really good, and
that oats with the egg on top. And oh man. I've
started doing it now for breakfast, but I didn't really care for it before that. I think we had done it one other time before that. I was like, this really isn't for me. I want my bread and my dippy egg, and I want to make a sandwich.
Yeah.
But those were the best oats of my life, and I've since now like, okay, yeah, I'll eat oats and eggs for breakfast sometimes. But so I had the egg, the oats, I think something else. I can't remember, but I did the clean thing. But then come 3:00, my dinner slash lunch was a clean meal, but it was a big old tenderloin and a whole lot of vegetables and some potatoes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was so good.
For sure.
I am lucky in the fact that my favorite food is clean food. Steak is my favorite.
Yeah.
And now sometimes you question how much butter and stuff I cook it with.
Oh my gosh. Dave puts like a quarter of a stick of butter in the pan when he's cooking a steak.
I do that when she's around. It's like half a stick of butter when she's not.
Oh my gosh. It's terrible though. Like that's so much butter. What are you doing?
It makes it so good.
Yeah. No, it does make it delicious. Butter necessarily isn't bad either. Like there's a bunch of studies out that like the whole saturated fats and cholesterols, like those aren't necessarily bad for you. It's the amounts that we're eating them in and the trans fats and all that stuff. So I don't think that butter is bad. I'm definitely not saying butter is bad.
It does have high fat, obviously.
Well, yeah, butter is fat.
That's what I mean.
Don't make me come over there.
Oh, God.
It does have high fat. What do you mean butter is fat?
I know. Yeah, you're right. But so
I know I'm right.
That is the concern. I like what you said about cholesterol, though, because I actually listened to a doctor on, it was probably Joe Rogan's podcast, but he was talking about cholesterol, or maybe he was referring to a doctor. Anyway, but there was, he said, like, cholesterol just isn't bad for you. It's actually necessary.
No, necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though people always say stuff about high cholesterol, he said nobody's ever died from high cholesterol.
Right.
You need cholesterol. People need to stop worrying so much about cholesterol. He was like, eat eggs every day, all day. But there's other correlating things that can happen depending on what you're eating and where you're getting all that cholesterol from. So again, clean, processed, stuff like that. But he was adamant that he didn't worry about cholesterol at all. He was a doctor, so I kind of listened to him.
No, for sure.
Throw the butter in there.
Some of the other factors in like like the other chemicals that are in the foods that we're eating that are processed, the ways that they react with some of the trans fats and stuff that we're eating.
Yeah.
In even clean food, the ways that they react for your heart can be detrimental. But the butter's not really the problem.
Yeah. Or the cholesterol in general. But then after that, I followed the guidelines for 2 weeks. Like, I followed them really strict. Like, I didn't do any of the protein,
like the protein powders and
like
stuff.
protein powders and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, I ate very, very clean. I did have a donut the first day after the 2 weeks. One donut.
What?
I told you. I definitely told you. I might have snuck it. That might be a lie. Just like the ice cream sandwich. Anyway, but overall, I would highly recommend it. And honestly, I would do a juice cleanse again. I don't know if I could ever do like a 5-day one though.
I think that's nuts. I was also listening. It was a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about how one of his friend's wives, every month, she does a 7-day fast, juice fast. Every month.
No way.
7 days.
No, there's no way.
That just, I can't really wrap my head around it right now, but I'm sure at one period in my life, like, maybe I'll be able to understand that. But right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like 2 days was way too much. Yeah, that was way too much. Yeah.
If I had to go another day, there's no way I would have made it.
Yeah, I think I definitely could have made it through a third day, but 5 days, no way. And I don't know that.
I'm questioning that.
You know, because me.
Yeah, the third day.
Just because of how healthy we are now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how your body responds to that.
Yeah, I don't know. That would have been tough. If I had to go 7 days, there might be bodies popping up.
Especially because like the the way that it would start to, you'd lose some muscle. Yeah. During those, and I don't know. Because you got to weigh out the factors of if that's worth it or not. The 2 day, you're not going to really lose. Muscle mass and.
Well, yeah, because your body will start eating the fat, and then once it gets to the fat, it's going to start attacking whatever it has to attack. Yeah. Which you would think would be muscle. Yeah, I'm not for it. That's too much. It's way too much. I'd do the 2 day again. Maybe try a 3 day. I don't even think I could do a 5 though.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Yeah, too much for me. And I was talking to somebody that just did a juice cleanser, is doing one currently, but somebody else's, and it was only 4 juices a day. And that seemed unreasonable to me.
It's very common to do 3 or 4 juices a day, not 6. We had a lot.
Yeah. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, same.
Even though some of them were gross, I was very grateful for those
I liked
juices.
the every 2 hour thing. It was nice. The way they had it structured was nice.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the juices were all drinkable. Some of them were actually really good. But
we should share your before and after.
That
one that I made and I sent to you?
Yeah. Well, you and it's my fault. You asked me to write like a couple lines, and I just haven't got to it. I started a new job and stuff, and I'm losing focus on some things, and I have to adjust.
Yeah. Well, you're in a different transition period in your life.
Yeah.
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 Can't beat yourself up about that.
I'm not really beating myself up for it. That sucks. It was just a couple days ago, and it's a couple lines. But when I have to write just a couple lines, that's actually worse for me than like writing like a full-on testimonial. Really? Yeah, because I'm like, how do I sum it all up in 2 lines? Yeah. Like, because to me it was, it let me know a lot about my eating habits, and that just random things click with me that just make me want to eat, even though I'm not hungry at all. And I'll eat a lot of food when I'm not hungry at all.
Yeah. There's a lot of different reasons for that. Yeah. Just stress signals and stuff. Yeah.
Try to break down my psyche.
I love breaking down your psyche. It's my favorite thing to do, actually.
It really is. You'll say some stuff to me sometimes. I'm like, really? Come on.
But then you reflect on it a couple days later, and you're like, damn it, she was right.
Yeah. It happens a lot. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just really into that, like, the way that your brain works and your awareness. And yeah.
You're going to kill me, but I got to pee again.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're just going to have to edit out this portion of the podcast because I don't have anything else to say right now.
Yeah, we'll just edit this out. All right, back from my old man bladder situation. Always. Anyway.
Sucks to be old.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So something I did want to talk about today was the fact that your yoga studio, Empowered Yoga, is moving. But I also wanted to kind of talk about how that came about. So since we started hanging out more, you always told me things like, if you just focus and work hard, like things will fall into place. Don't overstress it and just go. And you know me, sometimes I look at stuff like that where it's like, oh, the universe will just put things into place and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, skeptical hippo eyes, you know. But since we've been hanging out more, I see it all the time. It happens quite often. So maybe a week before you got the news that you got that made you able to start moving, you had said to me like, hey, can you help me out? Because you're always doing something. You're always busy. So you asked me to help you out and look at like possible places to move your studio and do more. And so I did the research. We hadn't had a chance to talk about them, and like the next week somebody came to you with like an amazing opportunity to move into a new building for a great price and much bigger. You'll be able to do much more there. And to me it was just crazy because you literally were just talking about it like, hey, I need to get bigger, we need to do more, and then all of a sudden this just fell into your lap. And so you're going to be moving to a much bigger place where you plan on doing a lot more things. Yeah. Are you asking me to talk about it now?
Yeah. Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You go get him. Go get him, Tiger.
So when I started Empowered Yoga, I just had this, wild idea that I didn't necessarily like any of the spaces that I was currently teaching in. Some of them were just like side rooms in a gym space, gym setting where there was like carpet on the floors, and just not anything against the gyms that I worked with. They were all great for what they were providing, but what they were providing just didn't line up with the vision that I saw. So I opened Empowered Yoga, and I started it in 2018, and I rented a space that was too big for me. Had no idea what I was doing, had no idea how to run a business. So I, just jumped in and was way over my head. And we were open for about a year. I had to look and try to find another space that was smaller but still suitable for us, and I couldn't find anything. So we took about a year off. And I just taught, I took a few months off completely. And then I started teaching down at this coffee shop, down at Leonardo's coffee shop down in Steubenville.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. I taught upstairs. You're thinking coffee shop, and if you don't know what Leonardo's is, you're thinking like, where was there room in a coffee shop for yoga? But the Leonardo's building is actually a 3-story building, and the floors are original to the building, and it's just a beautiful space to teach yoga in. So I was teaching there for about I don't know, maybe like 6 months, maybe a little less, a little more. And the classes were getting full. I was teaching just one night a week up there. And I was like, man, I really think that it's time to do another studio space. So
you had more experience, more understanding of how to actually operate your business at that point.
And my life was just a little bit more calmed down. Like I had too many moving parts in my life in the previous space, and to be so young doing all those things was it just didn't work. And I had a daughter that was 2. So, and I was a single mom at the time, and it just was too much.
Yeah.
So, some of the people that I had in my life at that point were like, yeah, like we'll totally help you look for spaces. And one of them helped me find the space, and she helped me redo the space, and it was perfect. Like everything just kind of like lined up. I had this little almost 800 square foot box of a room, and we painted it and made it look nice. And I tried to do everything as easy as I could for our community to find it. So I put myself on online platforms. I talked about it on my social media, did some events, did all the things that you do to try to promote a business. And after people started talking about it and coming to classes more, I mean, even during, and this came up today with the group of friends that I was hanging out with, they were like, Amanda, like you grew this yoga studio during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Like classes still got fuller, and it's growing during a pandemic. Like imagine what's going to happen when, cause there's still people that are scared to come out. So, I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. Sometimes I go so full speed that I don't, take the time to notice like little things like that until I do. And then I'm like, oh shoot, like Okay.
I don't even know if that's a little thing. Like you really grew this, and people talk about it often. Like we follow and we're friends with a lot of the same people on social media, and people are posting about it quite often,
which
like,
makes me happy because that's what it's there for. Just
yeah.
at the studio the other day, I said, hey guys, like, what do you think about this? Because this is our space. It's not my space. Like,
yeah,
I just teach here. Like, this is your studio.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys want? Tell me what you want.
Yeah.
So when I started to notice that I am, having these full classes, I started adding more classes and started doing private classes for the people that couldn't get into classes. And then a few more people started teaching with me, and we just are full. So
yeah,
I was like, okay, what's next? A space, a bigger space. Okay, like, let's look for that, which is when I asked you, like, okay, we're ready. Like, I'm doing everything possible that I can right now, so we're ready. And then when I did my first private yoga retreat, one of the women at the retreat were like, hey, I know this space that's coming available, and it just was perfect. We walked in, and there's a front area for like a small amount of retail stuff, like stuff that people at the studio like, stuff that we want to implement in classes. And there's a space that's 2.5 the size that we have now.
Yeah.
For actual yoga. There's some space in the back that I want to do some healing stuff with. We have some ideas for that, and space upstairs as well as a second studio space for private classes and some of the breathwork classes that are happening at the studio, and potentially more. There's a third story of the building too that needs redone. Really big bonus, we have our own bathroom. The building that we're in now has a public bathroom, and it has a key, and it's just weird, so I'm excited to have our own bathroom.
You actually have 2.
Yeah, we have 2 bathrooms.
Yeah.
So
look at you go.
yeah, and it's a very fulfilling feeling to have this idea in my head of ways that I can help people, and then have that availability to do it, to implement it, and to have the support of everyone at the studio. Because one of the first things I did when I realized that we could move into the space was text probably like 15 of the regulars and say, hey.
And the people that teach with you.
Right. Yeah. And my teachers, of course. I text my teachers first. But the people that, frequent the business, the people who have built the business.
Yeah.
Hey, like, what do you guys think? If you guys don't like this idea, then this isn't the move for us. And they were all very supportive, and they're the reason I do what I do. So
yeah, you've built a really great community.
Oh, I love them so much. I had one of them text me today, and I gave this a lot of the times at the end of, classes. Yoga classes aren't just yoga.
Yeah.
So I implement a lot of mindfulness in my classes, and I cued noticing how you felt in your past weeks, and it's the beginning of a new month, like what kind of intention do you want to set for this month? And she texted me after class and just said that in Savasana today she just had this feeling of, she didn't know how to describe it, but she was just like, damn, like, I've never been this happy. And like, that was just a really cool thing.
That's awesome
to share, because at the end of class today, it was a smaller class. There was only 5 of us in there. And so we got to play around a lot. We had a lot of fun. We got to connect. And during Savasana, I just had this feeling of like, they weren't just students anymore. Like, they were family.
Yeah.
And I just had never felt that like, wow, like, I love these guys. Like, I love these, essentially like strangers. Like, I knew who they were before, but
right.
And now I love them. And it was really cool that she shared that with me. So, yeah. And there's new people all the time, and it's really great to see the students who have been with me from the beginning meet the new people, and then the new people feel super welcomed, and now we're all family. And I don't know, it's just a really cool thing.
No, I think it's fantastic.
They're getting so fit. Like, I've watched some of the girls like that started as beginners, and now they're like, I don't know, doing crow pose, and it's just a lot of cool stuff that they couldn't do before. So
yeah, you've shown me some of those videos, and it's really cool when people I've known forever.
Yeah.
And I probably never would have expected, but then all of a sudden I see them doing something crazy in yoga, and I can barely touch my knees.
Yeah. So we're excited for the new space.
Yeah.
Excited for all the things that I can see it being, and
Well, I like your idea of, because it's what you had talked about before. Now you have the space to, and I'm sure it'll keep evolving because you have the space to do different things. But you talked about wanting to do like some kind of like almost total wellness center.
Yeah. So I actually just changed the name on the Instagram, which made it like official to me, like Empowered Wellness Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really funny. I actually just realized this the other day. I keep a journal, and I've done this for 2 years. For 2 years, not every day, but weekly. Sometimes, very often, more than weekly. But I write affirmations in my journal, like things that I want to happen, and I write them as if they've already happened.
Yeah.
So I say, like, I'm grateful for being a successful podcast host. Like, that's something that I wrote in my journal probably like a year and a half ago. And now I'm here.
Yeah.
And I also wrote in my journal probably a year and a half ago, I own, operate, and connect with people at I think I called it a healing center, or a wellness retreat center or something like that. But I wrote that a year and a half ago, and here we are. Like, and it's never how you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
But if you put that out there, kind of like you were talking about, you work into it. Like it's you write it down, and you're like, okay, like what are the steps to get there? And then as you write it week after week after week, then you notice it in your life, and you're like, oh, that's the way. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when when you say things like that. That's where I get the skeptical hippo eyes. But I've seen it. I've actually been lucky enough to watch you talk about, like, I can't wait till the day where I can just do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
And you actually have been able to quit your regular kind of full-time job. I don't know if it was necessarily completely full-time, but it was your moneymaker. It's what brought home the food,
Yeah.
And you've been able to let that go.
Yeah.
And how good does that feel?
It feels, I only did that because I was very on purpose. Like, I was ready for the time that I noticed ways that I was like hiring other people for my business and doing, like, to do the things that I needed to spend time doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
I thought that was funny too, because you hired an employee to just help you get things done, really.
Yeah.
Almost like an assistant. I know you don't like to refer to that because you love her, so
yeah.
But almost like that, and you hired her while you were still working another job, and I'm like, couldn't you be paying yourself that money?
Yeah.
But you've made it all work.
Yeah.
And she's very helpful to you.
I love Katie.
Yeah.
Katie, you the best. Katie keeps my head on straight most days. And I just don't like to call people like an assistant because she's so much more than that.
Right.
Like,
right.
She is like, I don't know what to call her, but she is like the OG. Like, she's great.
I've definitely noticed she's helped you tremendously.
Yeah.
Shout out to Katie. Well done.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's times where she's like, hey, like, I just wanted to remind you this, and this needs done this week. And have you done this yet? And I'm like, oh, shoot. No, I haven't. Thank you.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not trying to be pushy. And I'm like, no, like, thank you for being my second brain. Like, I love you. So, yeah, no, I feel really blessed to be in a position where I can help create like opportunities like that for people, because I've told you this before, but she was, a teacher, and she wanted to stay home with her kids, and COVID happened, and she didn't want to go back to teaching. And so now she gets to make a little bit of money, and it's not a lot, but she gets to make a little bit of money, stay home with her kids.
Yeah.
And now she's like, I don't know if I want to go back and substitute teach.
Well, and that's like me and Blake were saying, though, like sometimes the true wealth comes from being able to live the type of life you want to live, like, and spend time with your family.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, like, since I've quit my, I don't know what to call it.
It was
like a side hustle, but it wasn't a side. I don't know.
Yeah. It was.
Whatever.
I mean, it was your job. You spent a decent amount of time doing it.
So when I quit that, like, now I can go pick up my daughter at school every day. And she loves that. Like, she says, Mommy, who's picking me up today? And I said, how about I pick you up? And she like just lights up, and she gets so excited. And that to me is worth more than,
Yeah, I agree. I think it's in my life, it's one of the things I mess up with is I always live like, okay, this is how much money I make now. well, then this is how much money I'm going to make in my bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of keeping my bills small and just being able to live the type of life I want.
Right.
It's like I was constantly chasing the dollar. Now, I'm
Yeah.
later in life, but I'm definitely reining that in.
I mean, chasing a dollar is not a bad thing. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, you got to live.
Yeah.
You know, and you need money to live.
Yeah.
But there's no reason like, okay, I got a new job, time for a brand new car.
Yeah.
You know what I
so
mean?
like not looking at the big picture and rather just like.
Like, oh, I
So
make more
that's-
money now, so I can get something fancier.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember earlier when you said to me, like, just speaking on like the manifesting thing, we were arguing about something and we were joking around and I said something about killing you.
Yeah. That's not the first time. Murder.
And then
So funny.
And then I also said something about like I don't remember what I said. I said something like dig your grave or something like that. And you were like, oh yeah, do you need anything else while I'm at it? I was like, yeah, $1 million would be cool.
Oh yeah.
And you were like, oh well, which one's actually gonna happen? And I said, well, I know that I'm gonna make $1 million, so but that's the kind of stuff like yeah, like I like within the next 5 years of my life I'll make $1 million. Like saying those things
Yeah.
like if you just say it, like.
But see, like I still have this thing in me that like me saying I'm gonna make $1 million in the next 5 years. I'm like, come on, man, relax.
But the important part is why. So in my journal now, I have, God or Buddha or whoever you want to believe in that
Right.
hears you say these things, universe, whatever you want to call it. When you speak these things, God can see that thing and say like, okay, like you just want to make $1 million because you're a money hungry MFer. And like, what are you going to do with that $1 million?
Yeah.
So when I think about it, when I speak it, when I write it, I also let out why.
Yeah.
So that I can help my community find healing, so that I can bring this specific thing to the studio and help people's lives be a little bit better, so that Alira can have a college fund. Like I say, I'm going to make $1 million because of this.
Yeah.
Not because I want to make $1 million and have a fancy car.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, and I've definitely adapted since then. Well, and honestly, even before when I said like, oh man, if I ever made it rich, I would take care of my family. Like I would pay off their bills.
Yeah.
And
But the thing is you say if.
I do say if, and also when I would
just say when.
And also when I would make more money, I'm like, okay, well, it's not enough money to take care of my family, so I might as well get this nice ass car or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
and it could be.
It could
Depends on what you do.
I
with
could
it.
definitely, if I would have not had the bill, I can't even think about the amount I've spent on new cars and different things like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, having a pretty fast car, yeah, like that'd be cool. Like that would be fun.
Yeah,
But I would much rather have like a pretty fast boat that we could have our friends over on.
or a bunch of huts.
Or a bunch of huts.
Yeah. I can tell you now I hate myself for all the cars, because I would get these nice cars, and the cars were actually, I'm realizing now, more for other people than me.
Yeah.
Like I don't even take care of them. Like I get this brand new car and I'm like, and now it's a trash heap. How do you feel about that?
We won't talk about that.
But I don't even take care of them. Like I'm better off. Like my favorite vehicle that I've ever had to this date is when I first came home from the military / bad scenario, and I bought a like 1980s Ford F-150. And at the time, now they're expensive. Like you try to get an old one, they're expensive. But back then, I got it for like $2,000. Single cab, favorite vehicle I've ever owned. It didn't really need taken care of because it's just an old big truck, but it wasn't in bad shape. It was easy for me to keep clean because there was no back seat for me to throw stuff in. It was just that single cab, and it was my favorite vehicle that I ever had. And I never should have got rid of the damn thing, but now it's all I'm looking for. And now that same truck that I bought for $2,000, if I try to get today, is like $8,000 to $10,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
How ridiculous is that?
That's crazy.
But
you just say, I will find the truck that is right for me.
Yeah.
And then it happens.
Yeah. Well,
because you're looking for it.
See, I get
and you
it.
accept it. You got to accept it in your body.
Yeah.
When you accept that something's going to happen, you also release the stress around it. So then you're not just focused on the stress
Right.
of not having it.
Yeah.
You're
Not having it
accepting
or
that,
how you're going to get there.
yeah,
You're like,
you're
well, I'm going to
accepting
get
that it's
there.
going to happen. Yeah, right.
That actually makes a lot of sense. That verbalizing it like that makes more sense to me. Like, I'm not going to stress about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to overthink it. Like, I'm just going to get there.
Yeah, say it however you need to say it.
Because you're not saying it to the point of like, I just will it into existence. Like, no, I got to put in work. I have to do things, but I'm not going to stress about it because it's going to happen.
For sure.
Yeah, that makes
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
And that doesn't always happen. Like, there are definitely times, like, I was talking to my nutrition coach the other day, and
I'm just going to grab another beer. Keep going.
He has honestly become more of a life coach to me than a nutrition coach, because I'm like, Frankie, I'm stressed about this, and this thing. And he's like, Amanda, why are you stressed? You have this system, and this system implemented into your life. You're working hard, right? You're focused, right?
Yeah. It's
going to happen. Chill out. And I don't know. So just, just to be relatable.
And it comes full circle.
I also stress the F out very often.
Yes.
But I am able to recenter when I sit down and write about it. And
well, you are very good at recognizing how you feel.
Yeah.
And deciding to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, and some of that, like when I came in here today and I was overstimulated.
And
I said, you're going to have to turn that fight off the TV.
Yeah.
I need these dogs to calm down.
Yeah.
And I always make sure that I say, like, this is not your fault, but this is how I feel right now. Mm-hmm. And we have to just get through it. And you're like, what can I do for you? And I was like, nothing.
Yeah.
You just got to let me get through it.
Yeah.
So, like, just being how you need to be sometimes is just how it needs to be.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're not going to still get to that thing that you're quote unquote manifesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because it ended up everything not only being fine, but being great.
Yeah. It was fine because you also have learned that I'm like that.
Yeah.
That I do get overstimulated. So you've learned to not take it personally and to just like be like, okay, I'm here if you need me. I'm going to carry on with this thing over here.
Yeah. It's funny though, because we have a little back and forth at first, because then you're like, why are you being weird? I'm like, I'm not, just being very calm.
Yeah.
But
really what you're thinking is, you're the one being weird right now.
You're the one who came in here and said, I was super happy till I walked through the door, and now I don't want to be here. But then you don't leave. You're like, so I'm just going to deal with this for a second.
Yeah.
And then everything's going to be fine. But then you're like, okay, now why are you being weird? I'm like, nope, just being calm. We're just going to get through this little thing that's going on, and then we're going to be fine.
Everything's calm. Everybody's calm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not effing
calm. You might have said, I want to fight.
I did say I want to fight. I said I just want to fight somebody right now. Sometimes I just get that like buildup of energy in my body, and I now recognize when it's happening.
Yeah.
But it's just like this mood swing that happens, and I just want to break shit.
Yeah. Well, and I've talked to you before about the fact that I think you actually you have an extreme amount of energy, and it's also why you do so many things, and that's what keeps you calm. Like, that's why you do CrossFit, you do yoga, you're constantly on the move, you're constantly doing something, because you have so much energy that's just pent up in you all the time.
The other day,
and you have
I
to
was
release it.
Stressed out, like just like thinking about like all the different stuff, and then I would calm myself down. But even when I calm myself down, that energy, like you said, is like still like, it's just like surging in my body.
Yeah.
So I did that really hard CrossFit workout that I told you about.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I killed it.
Yeah.
I was so calm after that. Like, my brain was calm. Everything was crystal clear. Like, yeah.
It's sometimes to me it is, because we are a lot alike, but we're also very different. Like, you have all that energy, and I'm like, it might be time for me to take a nap.
After you just woke up from a 10-hour sleep session.
I hardly ever sleep for 10 hours.
You're the laziest person I know.
That's so rude.
But it's so true.
I do a lot of things too.
Like nap.
Did you say like nap or butt nap?
Like nap.
Like nap, yeah.
Like nap.
I like my naps.
I'm just kidding. I also have realized the value in taking rest and napping. So yeah, but you do a little bit too much.
I definitely probably nap a little too much. That's without a doubt.
That's your procrastination style.
It is.
Yeah.
Is napping.
Mm-hmm.
I like to sleep though. Like it's like a really.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things around here that could be done. I'm just gonna call bullshit.
I get the important things done.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah. Most of the time.
77% of the time. 66, huh?
well played. I was gonna say like 80, 85.
Maybe switch those numbers around. 58.
Oh, rude.
Yeah, no, now I'm just being rude. No, you are very productive. And since you and I have taken on that like extra business venture together with our media production company, you've done a lot. Like you were going to go work our business as well as work your regular day job, and
squeeze the gym in.
Squeeze the gym in for sure.
But I like you are right about one thing. Like most people, if they take a nap, it's usually like 15.
I'm right about everything.
Oh,
I am a female.
I'm a female.
No,
I am strong. Hear me roar.
No, I'm just kidding. I am wrong a lot of the times, and I think one of Dave's favorite pastimes is when I come back to him at a later time and say, "Hey, so you were right about this thing." Yeah, I do that quite often.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to tell you when you're right though.
No, you're not. No, you're very aware. It's one of the things you've actually really helped me learn how to communicate better too, because you do a good job at it.
Yeah.
You do a good job at it because even if it's not at first, most of the time you do everything with your ego in check, but every once in a while, because we all do, we're human. But
I even notice when I'm doing it though. Like I notice when my ego's taken over.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just let it happen to see what's gonna happen.
Rude.
And then that teaches me though, like,
yeah,
hey, you were aware that your ego was taken over. You let it play out, and it didn't serve you. So
yeah, but you do a really good job of communicating when you come back.
When I come back from the dark side.
Yeah, you do, and it's good because I think in my past a lot of times I would keep things in because I would tell myself like, is this worth a fight? Well, it doesn't always have to be a fight.
It's not a fight. It's just
it doesn't always have to be a fight. You can just actually say how you're feeling, and then you guys can deal with it. Mm-hmm. But when you actually say like, is this worth a fight? And you don't say anything, then you just keep letting stuff build up. Yeah. Instead of just getting it out. And then it's going to be a guaranteed fight because then it's just going to blow up.
It's like you're putting a cap on it.
Yeah.
Like this isn't worth a fight. Then you cap it and then it just stays in. Yeah. Instead of, throwing the cap away and saying, this is how I feel.
Yeah. And just,
I don't want to fight with you, but this is how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of the time, once you get it out of your body, you almost immediately feel better.
Oh, yeah. Like there's times that I say things to you. And then literally as I'm saying them, I'm like, nope, this isn't actually how I feel. I'm just upset right now. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Getting a little stiff over there.
Oh my gosh, my hip hurts so bad.
She's moving around. You need to go to the chiropractor. You've been saying it for how long?
Yeah, but I don't really know that I fully believe in chiropractors, to be honest. I haven't decided yet. Because the last time that I went to a chiropractor consistently, the things that they showed me that helped me were functional movements. Mm-hmm. And when I implement those functional movements, I don't end up in pain. I do believe that the way that I use my body makes certain muscles tight. Yeah. So then that makes one of my hips out of place because certain muscles are so tight when I neglect them. Yeah. But every time the chiropractor would like snap me back into place, it would hurt worse. And then it eventually would just end up in the same spot because I neglected the functional movements.
Really? So you actually didn't like the adjustments?
I liked them at that time because
as they were happening.
When I left, I felt great. Yeah. But then when I went back into the gym and I would exercise, now that it would hurt me like in a bad way. And then I neglected my functional movements again, and then it just was.
I was going to say, were you doing as much yoga and stuff back then?
No.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
I think that might help.
Well, I mean, I do I do a lot of yoga now.
I know you do now. That's what I'm saying. So
not
maybe,
always like hours at a time, but in sections.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So maybe if you got adjusted now, and now that you're doing yoga all the time, you'd be more mindful of it.
Maybe.
And maybe right after an adjustment, you shouldn't go right back to the gym and going hard. And you're not good at going hard.
Well, no, I was trying to be mindful at that time.
Yeah.
Because I had just had a Lyra and I had a C-section, so I was like trying to,
Yeah.
So, I definitely know more now though, and I'm much more aware of it. So I could try it again.
So I was gonna ask you. Mm-hmm. So I do have to use the restroom again.
Oh boy, here we go.
Because I'm 90, but we are also pretty long. I wouldn't mind continuing the conversation, but I know you like to keep them short and compact. So do you want to wrap it up, or do you want to keep going?
We can keep going if you want to.
Okay. What a terrible look you just gave me. You're like, hold on, let me finish eating my chips. And then you're like, so are we going to go? But so I just thought of something. You always tease me about being an old man.
Yeah.
Well, you're the one with all the hip problems. Old lady.
If you want to get technical, it's not a hip issue. It's a QL issue. Okay. I just need to stretch my muscle out. All right. Mm-hmm. And then I need to strengthen.
Strengthen?
I'm not even going to get into it with you. Because you don't care. But.
Well, it's not that I don't care.
It's not my actual hip. It's my muscle.
Yeah. But it's not that I don't care. It's that, you remember when I said larceny and you were like, oh, you're speaking a foreign language to me?
Yeah.
You're speaking a foreign language to me. You said Q something?
I'll show you later.
Okay. Yeah, no clue.
No clue.
I do forget what we were talking about before that now, but actually I wanted to touch on journaling because again, something that I don't do it very often, but I do it now for sure. I think the reason I don't do it as often is because when I write, I write for a long time. Yeah. I don't just write like half a page. It's always like pages. But I never really saw the value in it. I had never done it, so that's silly to say, but I had never really seen the value in it. And you did it all the time. You would tell me sometimes like, hey, you should try just writing it down. And then when I finally did start doing it, it's weird how your mind will flow through a problem. Mm-hmm. And actually, when you first start, you might just start writing like nonsense, just like, here I am, but you know that you don't feel right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you not only discover the problem, but then as you start talking about it to yourself in your journal, it starts out like, oh, this is the problem. And then as you keep going, you're like, no, this is actually the problem. And I'm not dealing with this. And that's what's going on.
For sure. Well, think about the way that you have to structure your thoughts when you're stringing words into sentences and then sentences into paragraphs. You have to structure your thoughts so that you can get those sentences out.
Yeah.
So then it leads you, I always called it like tracing. It traces you back to the root of the problem.
Yeah. Because
when you're writing, you have to form those sentences. It forces you to slow down and actually articulate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and actually what I like about it too is that since you know it's just for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can be kind of free and.
Yeah. So you can just write whatever. You don't really have to think like, oh, I'm writing this for somebody else.
And then you let it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm writing this for somebody else, so I can't say this. And I shouldn't say it like that. I got to find a different way to say it. You can just say it or write it. And then you might, and because you maybe had that thought for a second, it'll make you think about it a little bit deeper, but you still just write it out and keep going. And then instead of second guessing it and not writing it, you write it, then second guess it and just keep going and figure out where you're going.
And it's almost in those like second guesses that you do that you're like, oh, wow, I don't actually think that. I'm second guessing those things because I'm worried about the way that people perceive me, or I'm worried about someone judging me. Right. But really, that's not what I think at all.
Yeah. Because, like you think, oh, I'm second guessing this because it's shitty. What I'm saying here is shitty. Right. Yeah. That's why I'm second guessing it, because, man, if I actually said this to somebody, that'd be a shitty thing to say. Yeah. So let's figure out what's really happening here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's just a awareness practice that is, beneficial across the board. Yeah, for sure.
I think eventually I will do it more often, but now when I do it is when I'm feeling overwhelmed by some type of emotion. Sometimes I don't even know what the emotion is. I just know I'm not right.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sit down and just start writing.
Some people actually like set a timer, like just set a timer for 20 minutes. Like if you know you don't have a lot of time,
yeah,
but you also want to like get some things out, like set a timer for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, like just sit down. And
I feel like what's best for me is I think it was Ernest Hemingway, who was like a drinker, writer, poet type of guy. But when I finally get to that point, I'm like, okay, now when I get off of work, I know I'm probably going to be up for a few hours, and I'm just going to write. And I'll sit there with a glass of bourbon, and then I have 2 to 3, and I just write. And I'll actually get up, I'll do some like workout with the clubs, and then something else will come to me, and then I'll just sit down and write again. And then I'll just kind of watch a little bit of a podcast.
That actually sounds like a little bit of ADHD mixed with mania, is what that sounds like to me.
Well, I don't think I have the mania part, but I for sure have the ADHD.
Yeah.
That's why, and we've talked about it in the past. When I would even play video games and drink, I'd be like playing the video game, listening to a podcast, watching a football game, because I need my brain to do a bunch of things. It's actually why I like. Another reason why I like the journaling, because it lets me just actually sit there with my brain. Like sometimes I'll usually have music or a podcast on in the background.
I can't have anything on when I'm journaling.
Well, see, but the thing is I know I have
no, I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. But for me, I just wanted to explain, like for me, like I don't know anything that's going on the podcast or what music is playing. I just need that background noise. Yeah. There's just something about it, which I've gotten a lot better at. Like, I don't sleep with the TV on 99.5% of the time.
To me, yeah.
Because I used to always. Like, I had have to have the TV on to go to bed.
Yeah.
And now, here, I don't even have a TV in the bedroom at all. I do now. I just recently put it back in there. That's just because sometimes it's nice to lay on something that's not covered in dog hair.
You're telling me. No, I'm just kidding. Dave has 2 dogs, and one of them is very white and very fluffy, and she sheds a ton. And I tend to like to wear dark colors. Not all the time, but a lot of the times I come over here, like my sweatpants are black. The dress thing that I have on right now is black, and I want to sit down on the couch, but then I also want to leave the house and not have hair on me. And I'm like, what do we do about this? So I actually bought blankets for the couch that I have asked Dave to like keep hair free. Like after we're done with the podcast, pick them up, take them somewhere else. And the one that I'm sitting on now is hair free, but the one next to me, however, I think it actually is just a blanket that he uses to wipe down Ghost, which is the white one. I think he actually just like rubs it all over her, because I looked at it earlier and I was like,
covered in hair.
This is a third dog.
It's insane how much she sheds. It's unbelievable.
Well, you also don't brush her.
Well, because I have brushed her and it doesn't stop.
You can't brush her just like once when you get a dog. You have to brush her like multiple.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying I did a week where I brushed her every damn day, and the hair just never stops coming. I don't understand.
You may should try it a second week.
Gonna get the throat nudge. But literally, I'd have balls of hair like this, and for those that aren't watching the video, it's like a football size, like 10 to 15 of them.
Yeah,
and it just
my
still
dad's
keeps
dog
coming.
Is like that too. Like my dad has a golden retriever, and Raina is like that. She just sheds a lot, and Kathy, my stepmom, vacuums twice a week, if not more. Yeah, just to kind of keep up with the hair. And I
do need to get better at vacuuming, but I'm not here as often. I mean, I come here every day for sure.
Why aren't you here as often?
You want me to answer that? Because I'm at your place. But so I'm not here as often. But now I do come here every day. But vacuuming every other day sometimes isn't feasible. That just threw me off. What was that? Why are you looking at me like that? Anyway, so I don't necessarily always pick the blankets up, but before we do a podcast or before we know we're going to be hanging out here, I usually like wash one and then throw it in the dryer and it gets all the hair off of it.
Yeah.
Because it's unbelievable. There's tumbleweeds, as I call them.
I think it's just like that when you have dogs in general, though, because my sister's dogs are like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. I love them very much, but like, I don't know if I would get dogs again because the hair is so much to deal with.
I love animals so much, but in those times where I get overstimulated and kind of just like have those freak out times, I don't think I can have animals of my own because I've tried multiple times and I get very, unless they're a very calm animal, and like Sarah and Crystal, friends Sarah and Crystal, they have
a gazillion,
like 20. No, it's not 20, but not 20 dogs. They have chickens, rabbits, guinea pigs, cats, dogs.
You're not overstimulated over there?
When I go over, I know that I'm only going to be there for a few hours, and I love animals. Like, I love going over, and I think I know that that's my time to like be around them and like love on them and stuff like that. And none of them are very like they're happy to see you, but they're kind of just like, I don't know, they're just like good animals. They're like Sarah and Crystal. They're like good people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't get overstimulated because I know I'm only going to be there for a certain period of time. Yeah. And I can just love on them and then I can leave.
Well, and you're really good with the dogs once they calm down.
Yeah. Here. I think it's just when they're like very, I don't know. It's like something in them when they're like very high strung and I'm feeling like that anxious feeling.
Yeah.
It doesn't mix well, and I don't know what it is. It's almost like a panic thing.
Yeah.
Not sure.
It's definitely like a weird jolt of anxiety.
Yeah.
Is what it seems like to me. Because, I mean, I have anxiety issues. I deal with them pretty well, but I don't get that jolt. Mm-hmm. It's just an overall anxiety. And
it's like all at once, too.
Right.
Yeah. That's
what I feel like happens to you, is it's just all at once. Like, just this anxiety just smashes.
Yeah. I don't even know that I want to call it anxiety, because I really don't ever like to be, like, put into a box or have emotions put into a box, because then you become unaware of them. You're like, oh, it's just quote unquote my anxiety.
Yeah.
And then you put that label on it, and then you become unaware of when it's happening or what it does to you.
Yeah.
So I like to always be curious about it. So I don't know that I really want to call it anxiety, but that overstimulated feeling is just insane sometimes. It makes it hard for me to be in public situations and crowds and yeah.
But it is weird because you also do like being around people. Like
I love people.
Like we were just at Valley Wine Cellar and you were having a great time.
Yeah.
And we were all having a good time and there was a decent amount of people and you had a great time.
I know.
But then other times you're like, oh, I can't do this right now.
I go through highs and lows for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when my therapist, diagnosed me with bipolar 2. Like, I don't know that I necessarily believe in that fully, but I do notice mood swings for sure.
Yeah.
Like with my hormones, like being a female, like different times of the month, like I notice the different times where I want to like hibernate and different times when I want to be social.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the overwhelming amount of energy that you do have and then how much you do. Like I feel like you have to be exhausted like at least 4 days out of the week.
For sure. I definitely am exhausted a lot. Sometimes just mentally exhausted, not necessarily physically exhausted.
Yeah.
And I noticed that energy thing, that like what you call it, like I just have a lot of energy. Like physically, I have a ton of energy. Yeah. And I'm almost better when I wake up in the morning, think about nothing besides getting active.
Yeah.
So I get up, I do my make my coffee, do my journaling, read a little bit of my book or whatever if I have time for that. Because with Alira, I don't always have time, because now that I've started to wake up at 5 a.m., now she wakes up at 5 a.m. and I'm just not willing to wake up at 4 a.m. right now because I don't go to bed till like 10 or 11. So having, I gotta put that priority on sleep. But when I wake up and go to the gym first thing in the morning, I'm just better. What are you doing?
I'm listening.
You're like putting your...
Yeah, I'm putting my nose on the mic and I'm listening. Oh, no. No. No.
But notice it when I prioritize the way that you stop.
Oh, me stop. Get out of here. Go ahead. You prioritize. Go ahead. Oh, you.
When I prioritize the way that I disperse my energy throughout the day, I feel a lot better when I organize it. When I can get that energy out first thing in the morning and work out in the morning, I feel settled the rest of the day.
Well, we've been doing that this week. We've been doing all of our workouts in the morning.
Yeah. So normally I do CrossFit, and Dave has this like workout program on his phone that what's his name?
It's Hugh Jackman. He did it
used for Wolverine.
Yeah.
So Dave does that workout program, and since I have been I've like done like a short period of training for powerlifting. I've never competed, but I did that, and I did some bodybuilding stuff and whatever. But so when he showed me that program, I was like, okay, like let's do that. Like I need to switch it up a little bit, do something a little bit different. So I've been doing that program with him, and we go first thing in the morning, and then later in the day I'll go for a walk, or I'll sneak in a CrossFit workout.
Because she needs to.
Because I need more. The workout program that you do just doesn't have any cardio in it. I need that.
Yeah, well, it's why
it's
why I typically walk around the gym the whole time too.
Yeah, but that's not getting your heart rate up. That's like steady state cardio. It's different.
Yeah, it keeps my heart rate to the level of when I'm working out.
Yeah.
When I'm actually doing the sets or reps or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I forget what I was going to say after that, but yeah, we've been doing that in the morning, and I prefer working out in the morning. That's what I was going to say. I prefer working out in the morning. Sometimes
it's like time that you've got to spend for yourself.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to get motivated to go, but once I do, I always feel better. And it's like the same thing with the cold shower. Like there's more than likely, physically, after I do my workout in the morning, okay, physically, there's not going to be anything harder than this today. And with the cold shower, it's like stimulation wise, there's not going to be anything harder than this today when I do a cold shower, which I've done less and less because you and your hot water. But
do you like my hot water?
But I like both of those things, and for that reason, I love working out in the morning. I sometimes hate it when I'm getting up to go, but once I'm there and I'm doing my thing, then I feel so much better throughout the whole day. And it's not like it's really much easier after I get done with a whole day of work, like a 8 to 10 hour shift. It's not really easier for me to be like, okay, now it's time to go to the gym. Yay.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because once I start working out, no matter what time I do it at, I'm like, God, I'm so glad I'm here, and I'm so glad I'm doing this. You just feel better.
100%.
Yeah.
Nice catching up with you, Dave.
Oh, nice catching up with you as well.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't see you enough, so when we get to do these podcasts, it's really good.
Yeah, it's good to see you again.
Yeah. I feel like we're almost like let's just talk about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So me and Amanda have started dating. So we're together. So a lot of times on the podcast, as this process has gone on, we're like, make sure we're just doing the podcast. This is our thing. But yeah, we've started seeing each other, and it's been good. We spend a lot of time together.
One of the ideas that I had, or get your nose off the microphone. One of the ideas that I had earlier was doing a podcast on my platform. If you want to put it on yours too, like that's cool. But doing a podcast on my platform, because I put up the breakup podcast. I put up what it's like to be a single mom and what it's like to go through a breakup and all that kind of stuff. I would like to do a podcast with you about what it's been like to start dating again.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's been, I'm sure, much harder for you on your side.
Smooth sailing.
So,
not a problem in the world. See, trained well.
So if you'd like to do that with me, I think it would be cool. Because I think you and I have the ability to not just be like good partners, but also be very professional about the way that we describe how this whole process has been. And I think it could help people. Yeah,
truthfully, I think depending on how honest we get with it, I think it would really help people. Because
for sure. I mean, that's what I'm about, though. I like being honest, and yeah.
Yeah, well, because I know I've learned a lot through this friendship and relationship, because it definitely, I mean, neither of us ever planned on this being a thing.
No, me and Dave used to just so I wanted to do the podcast, and then I would come over here and we'd like talk about podcasting stuff. We recorded the Breakup podcast, and
when we planned her podcast, we literally would like sit at the old podcast table and take notes, and I'd have the computer hooked up to the screen, and I would actually she would start to come up with an idea, and I would actually just start typing so she could see it and read it.
Yeah. And then we would do that for like an hour or two, and then I'd be like, hey, like, I don't really want to go home yet, because I just don't want to, like, do you want to watch a movie? And we would just hang out and
make
eat popcorn, and yeah.
Lots of good big red meat meals.
Gosh, we had so many good those burgers we made that one time.
Oh.
But it was really cool, just kind of like getting to be friends with you. And then finding out that I liked you more than that when I was ready for it, and
and then not ready for it,
and then not ready for it, and then ready for it, and then not ready for it, and then ready, and then not ready.
Ready, go. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Get away from me. Actually, I hate you. Don't ever talk to me again.
Smooth sailing. No waves. Just a true romance story.
So look out for that episode of Be Kind.
We'll see how raw we're ready to get with it then.
Oh, I'm going in.
You're going in?
If I'm going in, I'm going in. Just kidding. Okay, let's go in. Nope, just kidding.
Just nope.
Actually, we should go. Nope.
And here we go. Oh man. All right. Well, I'm actually excited to do that.
Yeah.
I think that'll be fun for us, because we're good at laughing at ourselves, and
we are good at that.
Yeah. And I think it'll be good for other people, because I do think we have a really solid relationship, but it's not built on fantasy land.
No, for sure.
You know. So.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I value about you and I.
Yeah.
This is the way things are.
Yeah. And we communicate well. We talk a lot about everything, and we don't stew on stuff.
You know that, have you ever seen that Dr. Seuss quote that's like, love is just like finding someone as weird as you, like falling in mutual weirdness?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I don't remember what the quote is, but I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I thought about that the other day. That like, I don't know, it's not like like we literally have just fallen into mutual weirdness.
That's for sure.
like you do things sometimes and I'm like, oh, you too?
That is absolutely true. There's actually been a lot of similarities with a lot of different things, like even two people that we've lost in our lives. They were very similar. Like we'll say something about one or the other, and we're like, holy shit, that's the same thing with. So
that though, that specific thing that you're talking about is actually a trauma bond. So I was like very mindful of that which we can get into this more on the podcast that we do about dating, but that's a trauma bond. That's an unhealthy thing, and that's one of the things that actually like made me want to push you away. Because I didn't want it to be an unhealthy bond.
But I think we do. I think when we relate it in a way, we actually don't relate it as a trauma bond. Like, oh, that's something that makes me happy. Like I like that that is also something you find comfort in, because it was something you grew up with, or
like an understanding, or
right. Maybe we'll wrap it up with that, because if not, we'll start doing that Be Kind podcast right now.
Right now.
So we should probably wrap it up and then do that at another time,
I suppose.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for listening to us banter about things that are going on in our lives, and hanging out.
hanging out. That's how I like it. I like to just hang out and have a conversation.
Yeah, it's hard for me though. Like I like structure in my podcast, and this is hard for me to just kind of like did we talk about anything? Like what even happened?
What did we talk about?
Yeah, so thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. Thanks for sticking with me.
Yeah, it's actually a really good idea that we do that podcast on your podcast, because you'll need that.
It'll be
format.
structured. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think whoever's listening will need that structure as well. So yeah. Well, I'm really glad we did this. I always love talking to you.
Yeah, I guess it's okay talking to you too. No, just kidding. I value the way that we communicate a lot, and I think that the more podcasts that we do together, the more that I don't know. I think that we can help people with communication stuff, because
absolutely
we're good at it.
Yeah, and people seem to like listening to us from time to time. So, and there you go. That's the story of us.
Weird.
And you never know. There could be a whole other podcast that gets birthed out of it.
Maybe.
Because we just like to create new things. All right.
I just thought of what we would call that podcast.
What would we call it?
I can't say it out loud.
What do you mean you can't say it out loud?
I can't do
if it's what you would call it, how could you not say it out loud?
I don't think we should call it.
We shouldn't call it that?
Nope.
All right, so you're going to tell me off air?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll wrap this up. There's going to be 2 outros. One is thanks for joining us. Love you guys. This is Gathering of Fools. We're out of here. What about Be Kind? You want to say something about Be Kind? Like, hey, this is Be Kind. We're out of here.
Be good to yourself, guys. See you later.